Hey everybody, this is Kohdok here. Well, summer has arrived at last, and I figured this is the perfect time to finally catch up to one of the outdoor toys I got a good look at Toy Fair this year. So today, we are going to be talking about Super Impulse's Precision RBS. Wait, why do I feel like I've seen this style of gun before?
Don't worry, Lowe's. Cavalry's here.
Well, that's kind of a funny coincidence, the way it kind of resembles Tracer from Overwatch's gun, but like I said before, I can guarantee that it's a coincidence because this rail here actually serves the purpose of being able to store extra ammunition. Yeah, these are actually pretty ordinary rubber bands here. They're not like the Fruit Loops that they give you to use with the Tech Recon, which I have on display here, which are similar in color but aren't really the same thing. They are rubber band guns that are actually magazine fed, but the problem is the makers tried to attach an app to them, and that just totally blew the price point. Now, the RBS, the Precision RBS, caught my eye because it's a lot more pragmatic. Rather than use the magazine-fed feature, it instead works similar to those wooden rubber band guns you might have seen. I'm not sure how prevalent they are in the rest of the world, but in America, these sorts of little wooden rubber band guns that have the clockwork attachment in the back are all over the place. Any kind of frontier attraction or mom-and-pop store or any Cracker Barrel restaurant tends to have a few of them in stock. Well, these are made mostly out of plastic, but they operate pretty much the same way, where you load the rubber band in the front, attach it to the cog in the back, and then wind it once. Although, if you paid attention, you notice I loaded this thing in a kind of peculiar way, where I actually kind of stretched out one side specifically. Now what this does is this is actually from the recommendation of the manufacturer for these guns in order to apply sort of spin to the rubber bands by having one side be tighter than the other. And as a result, it is able to fire a lot more accurately. And I can confirm this. I've tried loading them the regular way and then loading them with that extra twist, and it really does make a difference, which is probably something you can do with any sort of the rubber band guns. Anyway, this pistol here is called the Talos. I know it says Hyperion right there, but I'll go into that later. The one behind me, if you can see that, says Talos. And it can hold either up to 12 of these small yellow 60mm rubber bands, which you can find in any office supply store, or after using a switch that allows me to extend out the barrel, can instead equip 8 of these larger 90mm rubber bands, which have a bit more power. They load on the same way regardless, where they go onto the cog and you tick it back once in order to ready it. It also has a small flip-up shield in case that has the sights in it, so while you're aiming down the sights, if the rubber band decides to give way, the shield will block it for you, and comes up and down with just your thumb. So if you're playing with the gun and you forgot to set the shield after loading it, you can just pop it right back up. Anyway, the Talos is $15, which is pretty good. That's competitive with a lot of Nerf guns. It's very efficiently designed, and of course it comes with a set of punch-out targets, which is always nice, and a big old tub of ammunition. These tubs are a little hard to keep closed, though. If only there was something I could use to hold it shut. Wait. IR smart reviewer. Honest. So yeah, $15 is pretty good for a pistol this size. It's definitely competitive with Nerf, especially considering it has multiple firing modes and comes with 200 pieces of ammunition. But the real appeal behind the Precision RBS system is the fact that it is modular. This is the Chiron. It is a hand grip that comes packaged with a different version of the Talos and costs only $5 more than the regular set. What it does is it gives you the stability of being able to hold the gun with two hands, sort of like a submachine gun, and also permits you to have both spots for the 60 and the 90mm rubber bands, which you can mix the two as long as you keep those proportions I told you about before. Now, what the Chiron does is, along with the stability, it also has a huge space for a ton of additional ammunition stashed under here, as well as something called the speed loader. This special clip here allows you to tuck in some rubber bands. The clip then comes and gets a good grip on them and allows you to more quickly load the rubber bands into your gun by holding them in place. The Chiron comes off fairly easily by pulling a trigger on the Talos that removes it, and it can even be used as a solo launcher that runs off of the speed loader. But the Chiron isn't the only special attachment that the Precision RBS gets, and it's not even the best one by a long shot. No, that honor goes to the Hyperion, the one that this gun is named after. And boy, does this thing work. The Hyperion is a game changer. It is able to load up to 6 of these gigantic 190mm rubber bands, and you can really feel the difference when you fire them. There is a lot of force behind these purple rubber bands when you fire them, and they just devastate anything in front of them. Although, like with the Chiron, it can also fire the smaller 90mm or 60mm ammunition using these additional pegs, and you can mix them together using the same ratios as before. The Hyperion attachment also has a feature where it has a special comb on the bottom here onto which you can stash up to 13 of these rubber bands, which can be fired extremely rapidly by pulling back on the grip here all the way. Now, they call this burst fire since it allows you to fire so much of them at once, but since it operates kind of like a grenade launcher, I call this the noob tube. The thing that really blows my mind about the Hyperion is how cheap it is. The Hyperion is a special attachment that comes with its own version of the Talos, which also says Hyperion on it, and it is $25. The Talos is a little bit of a hard sell at $15, but the Hyperion at $25 is a steal, since it's able to use that powerful ammunition. It looks great too. It's the most expensive thing in the series, and it is easily the size of like a $40 or $50 Nerf gun. This thing just looks great on its own, regardless of how good it is. Now, of course, the RBS guns aren't free of problems. The fact that they are cog-fed rubber band guns mean that they do take a little while to reload, which is part of what made the Tech Recon magazine system so revolutionary. But then again, once they're loaded, they are semi-automatic fire, and they do even have the speed loader, which can help speed things up a bit. Another thing is that with this ammunition, they are like little basic rubber bands. You are going to lose them and you are going to break them. But remember, each gun comes with at least 200 of them. The system's biggest weakness, though, is the fact that if I want to get all 3 of these components, I have to buy a redundant Talos in order to get them all. And I honestly don't really like having to purchase a bunch of redundant pieces to get everything that the set can do. Although I guess if you're a fan of Overwatch and want to do some fun playing around pretending you're Tracer, having 2 of these isn't really a problem, but I would like a way to get all 3 parts just on their own. I don't know, maybe it could be like a special holiday or like a Sam's Club Costco set that has all the components for like $30 or something. Or, you know what? Since the Chiron can work on its own, why not make it a separate piece? You could sell it for maybe $5 or $6. It could be a cheap way to help get people into it, and it would allow me to make a full set of these toys without having to buy a bunch of redundant parts. So those are my 2 cents on the matter. Anyway, that is Precision RBS. They are a very fun set of toys. The Hyperion is worth every penny at the incredibly low price of $25. They can be fed with office supplies. They are just incredible. They are the very stripped down, basic sort of rubber band guns that I wish that Tech Recon could have been. So, until next time, this is Kohdok with the Super Impulses Precision RBS, and I'll be signing off.